What are you gonna name him?
LeBron James.
Hello there, Wardell Stephen Curry II. Mommy loves you.
I can pretty much guarantee that we were all mind-boggled when we learned that Steph and LeBron happened to be born in the same hospital, as both went on to become all-time greats. That's actually insane. And if things like this intrigue you, then you clicked on the right video, because I got a whole bunch of examples of crazy coincidences that might surprise you. The majority of us can spot an iconic moment when we see one, and this definitely fits the bill. Dikembe Mutombo laying on the ground in pure joy after his 8-seeded Nuggets pulled off one of the greatest upsets in NBA history, defeating the number 1 seed Supersonics in 1994. By far, his happiest moment was right there on the floor, but unfortunately, his saddest moment also took place in a similar fashion. Game 2 between the Blazers and Rockets in the first round of the 2009 NBA playoffs. Late in the first quarter, Mutombo gets tangled up with Greg Oden, which led to Mutombo landing awkwardly on his left leg. And immediately, you can tell he was in serious pain.
Mutombo is really in pain, slapping the floor.
Yeah, and Mutombo has been around the NBA long enough. He knows a serious injury to his body.
And had to get wheeled off the court by a stretcher. Soon after, we learned that he severely injured his left knee. And right there on the spot, he knew it was the end of his basketball career.
It's just bad. I might need surgery.
So you know that it's over for you this year?
No, it's over for me for all my career.
But wait, it doesn't end there. If you notice who the guy was that caused this in the first place, Greg Oden, you would begin to realize that his career basically ended the exact same way. Oden's knees just couldn't stay healthy, as karma had him suffer a depressing ending, just like Dikembe. Next is another man whose career might end unexpectedly. Okay, I know he already planned on retiring after this year, but due to the sudden stop of the season, it looks like he might be forced to call it quits a little bit early. And the way his career started was also unusual. He had to deal with that 1999 lockout in his rookie year, which you can say is kind of what's happening at the moment. And if this is the end of Vince Carter's days in the NBA, then I think it's a safe bet to say that he is a Hall of Famer. He has an endless amount of iconic moments that the voters simply can't ignore, but the one thing people most likely will hold against him is the lack of rings he has. In fact, he only made it to 1 conference finals, let alone a championship. And I'm sure there's one moment he wishes he can do all over again that possibly could have changed that. It was 2001, Raptors vs Sixers in the Eastern Conference semifinals, Carter head-to-head against the MVP Allen Iverson. Both players did everything in their power to lift their teams, which ultimately led to an epic Game 7, and you couldn't ask for a better finale. With 2 seconds left, Toronto down by 1. You know Vince was salivating at the mouth. This was his opportunity to finally get his franchise to the conference finals.
Curry has it. Carter trying to get free. Carter at the buzzer. No good. And the Sixers hold on and advance to the conference finals.
But he misses it. Raptors fans must have been crushed. But 18 years later, they got a little taste of revenge. Kawhi Leonard was their guy this time, and he did not disappoint.
Be aware of the inbounder here if you're Philly.
It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger? Toronto has won!
Now, I'm pretty sure I don't even have to point out the similarities between these two moments, but I might as well. Both series took place in the second round against the same opponent, Philadelphia, and once again, it came down to a Game 7. In the final seconds, the score almost identical, one shot to win the game, the series, and go on to the conference finals. Both men rose up for the shot in front of their team's bench. The only difference, however, is one shot went in and one shot did not, as the roles were reversed, leaving Sixers fans disappointed this time. Also, the Milwaukee Bucks were waiting for the winner in the conference finals in both instances, which the Bucks eventually lost each time. And the winner ran into an all-time great dynasty in each occasion of the finals as well. When a young Kobe Bryant arrived on the scene, everyone knew that he would eventually blossom into something special. It was just a matter of time. And early on, we got to see what he was made of. He was just a rookie, but Kobe himself already believed he belonged there. All he had to do now was prove it, but it turned out to be a disaster. It was the 1997 Western Conference Semifinals, Game 5, Lakers vs. Jazz. LA was facing elimination. With the score tied and about 10 seconds left, Kobe would get his first opportunity to show that he was built for moments like this.
For Kobe Bryant, the young rookie straight from high school. 8 seconds left. Bryant guarded by Russell. 5 seconds left. 4. Bryant drives, pull up, shot on the way. No good. Carmelo rebounds. We go to overtime.
But he airballs. So the game would go into overtime, where he embarrassingly airballs again to start the period. The game remained close, just like it was in regulation. And just like before, Kobe airballs for a third time. But no worries, he would get one more shot to tie the game, but yet again, it was the same result, making Kobe feel like he just let his entire team down as they were sent home. So you pretty much have no choice but to go on vacation now. Your season is over. But Kobe's mindset was the complete opposite. As soon as he landed back in LA, he went straight to the gym, had the janitor open up the doors, and practiced his shot over and over again until the sun came up. And that obsessive mentality molded him into a clutch player ever since. Now, fast forward 2 decades later, everyone gathered to witness his very last game in the NBA. And what do you know? The opponent that handed him his very first failure was right in front of him, trying to spoil his farewell night. But Kobe wasn't gonna let the Jazz ruin his moment this time, as he delivered a performance that gave all of us goosebumps.
Going to the basket. Huertas is seeking Kobe for 3. Yes. Final minute 30. Bryant from 14 has 53. The Lakers down 1. Will Kobe give them one last gamer? Bryant on the move with the jumper. My!
As sad as it was to see his legendary career come to an end, it was even sadder to learn that he tragically passed away so unexpectedly. And considering what happened just the night prior to this news made it even more unbelievable. Heading into that January 25th game between the Lakers and Sixers, we all pretty much knew that LeBron was more than likely going to pass up Kobe for third on the all-time scoring list. And in the third quarter, he did just that.
There's James, goes across the lane, lays it up, and lays it in. And there it is. He just became the third leading scorer in NBA history, passing Kobe Bryant.
And to think that he did that in Kobe's hometown of Philadelphia, of all places, makes it even more significant. And as expected, Kobe immediately congratulated LeBron on Twitter that same night. Then, after the game, LeBron had some kind words of his own, basically saying he looked up to Kobe growing up, and this moment means a lot to him. It was a special night, but the very next morning, the entire sports world was stunned by the unfortunate news. And we all were thinking that it can't be true, but it was. We went from a feel-good moment the night before, only to wake up to a nightmare. Transitioning to the player that Black Mamba idolized, Michael Jordan has one of the best finals records ever, 6-0. No team he faced had the ability to beat him. To this day, many still reminisce about what he was able to accomplish. And there is one little fact that deserves mentioning. The Utah Jazz was the only team to face the Bulls twice in the finals. Back-to-back years in 1997 and 1998, they were able to push Chicago to 6 games both times, but left empty-handed. It was the same old result 2 years in a row. No, literally, if you take a look at Jordan's production in Game 6 of the 97 finals and compare it to what he did in Game 6 of the 98 finals, you would see that it's basically identical. He played 44 minutes and shot 15 for 35 from the floor in 97's Game 6. And in the following year, he did it again, playing 44 minutes and shooting 15 for 35 from the floor in 98's Game 6.
Wow.
So I guess he knew exactly what it took to knock off the Jazz once again. Nothing too crazy, but interesting. No matter how gifted you are, your game is going to decline sooner or later. During MJ's Wizards days, it was evident that the end was near, and for real this time. On April 16th, 2003, Michael played his last game in the NBA. We had to say goodbye to a legend. But a couple months later, the NBA had a new star enter our lives, which that, in and of itself, has always been a coincidence in my eyes. MJ enters the league, LeBron enters the world. MJ exits the league, LeBron arrives to the league. Now sure, it may be just random that it turned out like that, but what if something lended a hand in Jordan choosing to retire after the 03 season? By now, you might have seen this picture, which appears to be LeBron James as a junior in high school, and Michael Jordan around the age of 40. This went viral as soon as it surfaced on the internet. Many of us immediately started to speculate that there might actually be real footage somewhere out there of Jordan and LeBron facing one another. Some people say the image is from one of Jordan's camps that LeBron attended when he was in high school, and others say that LeBron and Jordan visited a local gym in Chicago where NBA players back then tended to play pickup every now and then. And it was rumored that LeBron straight up dominated the NBA players who participated in the game, and Jordan might have been one of them. Which leaves me with this question: could it be that Jordan was possibly embarrassed by LeBron getting the best of him, and was kinda intimidated by LeBron's dominance, so much so that he demanded the footage to be destroyed, and then knew it was time to call it quits when LeBron was about to enter the NBA? Okay, I know this is a little bit of a reach, but I am curious about your guys' thoughts on it.